Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another RuneScape vlog. I'm going to do these alongside my From Scratch series, just to kind of give you guys more 2 videos a week instead of just the one. So keep in mind that the vlog series and stuff is not going to run side by side, so I'm not going to record this video after I do the next From Scratch, which would be, while recording this, would be 13, but it would be 14 for the next, I believe. So it kind of random. So the stats here do not reflect my From Scratch progress. If you want to see the progress of my From Scratch accurately, go watch the latest episode of that. That will give you a feel of where I am, because these skills will have changed, depending. Some of them will have changed. So it all depends. But as of watching this video, at the very least, 60, 49, 55 defense. But again, that will have, probably completely changed. I hope maybe I'll have 60 by the time the next From Scratch comes around, or the previous From Scratch has happened, if you get what I mean. But yeah, so it's really just going to be a vlog series of when I see something that I am interested in and kind of want to talk about with you guys, I'm going to record it. And I'll just save it for the next time that I can upload a vlog. So that's really what that's going to be. So none of my stats are representative of my From Scratch progress at all on this particular vlog series. And I'm going to make a playlist as well for these, so don't panic as well if you, for whatever weird reason, want to watch more than one of them at once and hear my boring voice for more than 25 minutes, then I'm making a playlist for you, buddy, friend. Oh, great friend of mine. So I go on Zybez. I'm going to get agility here now for Monkey Madness at this point in time, because I really do need Monkey Madness. And I was talking to a guy while I was slaying who's like level 103. The dude was just completely fucking ridiculous with his stuff. I was like, yeah, you can do it. With what you have. You have 43 prayer, 0 per points right now, but you have 43 prayer, you have 40 range. You could probably do it in 40 range, so I should get 50. Or you can just do mage, and my mage is adequate to do it. At the very least, I can do MMM up to the boss fight, and then do the boss fight after I get like 50 range or higher mage or whatever I want to do to get it. But I do have to get, I believe it's 25 for Grand Tree Quest. I'll check that though. Because if I don't have to get 25, then I won't. 25 agility, yes, okay, and the demon, which is nothing. So I have to stick it out here and be bored for the rest of, for all of like an hour or so. I think that's how long it takes if you do it, if you just continuously do it and take no real breaks. But anyway, so I came across this article on Zybez when I was looking up a guide for Monkey Madness, Grand Tree, and whatnot, and it pertained to old school RuneScape, and it was an interesting kind of question because I've been playing old school RuneScape since it came out, and I've been playing RuneScape in general since early 2003, which is a fairly long time. Not many people can say that anymore, really. Really, the people that are on 07 can generally say that. No, not all of them. Not by far all of them, but you're going to find a majority there, and of course you're going to get those guys on RS3 too that have as well played for a long time, though I find RS3 has fewer of those older players. It has more of the newer players that are more used to the modern way of training and getting cash. So, the guys that don't play 07 Scape. Now, let's not get me wrong here before I jump into these thoughts that this guy had, questions that he had really, that I kind of want to answer for him. I don't care what you play. If you play 07, if you play RS3, or if you play both. I'm not saying 07 Master Race, nor am I saying RuneScape 3 is better because it's better. I'm saying I don't care what you play. There are all kinds of different players. There are dicks in both game modes. You are not exempt if you are in RS3. You're not exempt if you're in 07. Not everybody is a nice person on any side. And I'm pretty sure most people can agree with that. And if you can't, leave. Just go away. Like, I don't want you watching the rest of this video. But anyway, so this guy asked questions and stuff like that. I'll put a link to the Zybez forum link, too, in the description of this video if you want to read it for yourself. There are some interesting answers that people have given, including the first couple. This one guy here, whose name doesn't seem to be on there, but yeah, he's kind of cool. His answer is really, really good. But anyway, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions in total. Some of these are going to take a little while to answer. Some of them really aren't. And you'll find out which one of those are pretty quickly. So the first thing he asks is, how does old school Scape itself feel? How does the experience feel? It's different. It is very, very different. This is coming from a guy who played some of RuneScape 3, RS2, EOC, as well as far back as 2003, and did play some Classic when it came out a couple times. Most notably, the most recent time they brought it out for like 3 or 4 weeks or something, that around Christmas or something, as like a Christmas present. I played that extensively. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoy 07 quite a lot. It feels RuneScapey. It doesn't feel copied. And again, this is where I'm going to offend RS3 people. But I find RS3 really feels like a generic MMO, like World of Warcraft, like anything with an action bar. Most MMOs, free or not free, have an action bar. World of Warcraft does. Luna Online even did, if you remember that game. Many of these MMOs whose names completely escape me because there's so fucking many of them, have an action bar. They have, the same sort of kind of interface. The chat box is kind of different, yes, but it's kind of coming into that more morphy sameness, and I don't like it. The items and the skill capes and stuff like that are still very unique to RuneScape overall. Some games have achievement capes like that, but I find RuneScape is the one that does it best with the skill capes and stuff. But I just feel too generic on that. I feel like if I'm going to play World of Warcraft, I'll go play World of Warcraft. Whereas RuneScape 2007 feels different. It feels like something new and not done before in MMOs. It doesn't feel like World of Warcraft. It feels like RuneScape, and nothing more, nothing less. And for that, I really, really enjoy it. Yes, the graphics are kind of meh, but that's kind of the charm of it, to be honest. I enjoy the old school graphics and the old school charm. I enjoy old whip look. I enjoy old armor looks and stuff. D-Chain is amazing looking in old school. I love that look. I love the look of like the Wizard G stuff, all of the party hats and whatnot. Everything. It just looks really, really good. And it doesn't need to change a bit. So I'm glad that it exists, and it's a great and wonderful thing. It feels like it did in August of 2007. It feels the same as it did. It's just a great experience. Really, really good experience. The second question. Are there a lot of players still playing on it on average? I want to say yes, but I'm also going to say no. It's not as many as I would like, and not as many as when it first started, which is kind of obvious. When something first starts, and you have this big hype for it, everybody's going to play it. Fucking everybody is going to play it. When Divination came out, there are names that popped up online on my friends list that I haven't seen online in months. So it's just something that's going to happen. When that 450,000 votes got in, and say 350,000 of those people actually played, most of them, and by most of them I mean probably about 250,000 or so of them stopped. They either left RuneScape entirely or went back to EOC. One of the two, or whatever. It's just going to happen that way. You're going to have a drop in players on anything and everything, no matter what. Call of Duty is a good example of this as well. When either a new COD game comes out or whatever, there's a huge hype for it and stuff like that, and then it kind of drops off a bit, and then a DLC comes out and it goes up a bit. That's why they release DLC, is to get the popularity in again, because you have a game like COD competing with other games coming out as well. So you have COD, Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, this year be GTA 5 as well. So, you need that DLC to kind of keep that interest. So if you look at statistics of players online, you'll see that dip, and then it rise back up again when the DLC is released, and then dip down again, and then rise back up again, and dip down again, and yada yada yada, until the DLC stops, and then you just see a constant decline. Eventually, things will even itself out, I guess, like with Halo Wars, for example, which is a game I still play actively. It's evened out and has been at like 4,000 online people on average for like ever, ever and ever. So no, there aren't as many people playing it on average, but it's a big enough community to make it worthwhile. It's not like 60 fucking people on World 2 picking their damn noses. It's still a good, 40 to 50,000 people. It's usually about anywhere from 10 to 17,000 people online on average. That 17,000 obviously is on peak times around 3 or 4 o'clock Eastern time zone or so in the evening, because that's just when people play, because it's after school, after work, and all that kind of stuff, and they're in the relaxed time after supper or just before supper, stuff like that. So yes, there are still a fair amount of people that play it on average, more than enough to make it worthwhile and doable and still alive, but nowhere near as many people as were playing it in the first few months. So there's the answer to that. How was the minigame and PKing activity? Well, minigame activity, I haven't really played any minigames, and I don't PK either, so I'm really not the greatest person to be answering this question, but at the same time, I've heard and seen on PK Worlds when I've gone to sell sharks, because that's where they sell fairly well. Not a big amount of people in minigames. The big minigames there are still players to play. Pest Control, Castle Wars both of those are still popular enough. Barbarian Assault, I'm not 100% sure, but since Torso is a prize, I would imagine that's still popular enough to keep games going. I don't know whether it's a lot of fucking people or not. I don't know. That's hard to say. But I don't know. You'd have to check that out for yourself, really. And as far as PKing goes, there was, and still is, a fairly active PKing community, I find, personally. The free-to-play PKing, not so much at all. There's like 50 people on PKing free-to-play worlds, so that really kind of, it goes for itself there. But as far as member PKing, I still find that there is a fairly active PKing community. Because old school PKing is what a lot of people came back for in the first place. So there's going to be an active community of that, and if there isn't, then the game's pretty well dead anyway. So you've got an fairly active PKing scene. As far as my knowledge goes of selling sharks, there was a lot of people there selling food and crappy weapons, and it seemed like there was a fair amount of people in the wilderness and stuff that were PKing and actively doing so, and like just the PK videos that come out of '07 anyway. There's enough of them to suggest, and the people that are in said world that are around these people as they PK is enough to suggest that it's still fairly active. So kind of answers itself in that respect. As far as minigames go, though, besides Pest Control, Barbarian Assault, and Castle Wars go, I don't think it's very active. So, and I don't even think those active ones are very active overall. So you're gonna lose out there if you were looking to do some Castle Wars games, unless you have a group of friends, obviously. Does it still feel like old school, quotations here, Scape, or does it feel more like a weird copy? I answered this kind of before, and this is going to be a quick answer. It feels like 2007. It feels like RuneScape 2007. Yes, the attitude kind of has changed. People are still as nice as they were in '07, I find. And again, kind of picking on RS3 people here. I find people are nicer in 2007 than they are now in RS3 type stuff. I find, and this goes for '07 as well, not as much '07, much more RS3, but still, there are still people in '07 that are like this. I find the high levels are douchey. They think they're hot shit, and they think that they're the best thing in the world. And that drives me fucking insane, because I don't care if you have a max cape or a completionist cape or whatever like that. If you feel the need to be snooty on a video game, you probably need to stop playing the video game, because you think you're hot shit when really you're not. You're just some guy who plays a video game, and God forbid you're nice to somebody on that video game. I find people get snubbed, I think it is, snubbed a lot on by high-level players on RS3, whereas '07 not so much, and it's the same now than it was in 2007 on '07 Scape as far as niceness goes. I find there's not much difference. It plays like RuneScape 2007, like It's the same everything. The PKing is the same. There's no declaw rushers and shit. Although the PKing attitude has changed as well because of that rushing attitude, so that has changed a little bit because of that, and people are smarter with it. But it hasn't changed enough to say that it's a weird copy. I think it hasn't changed enough to call it a weird copy. It's changed enough just to still call it 2007 Scape. So yes, I think it still feels like it did in August of 2007. Has your opinion on old school Scape changed at all from release to present times? No, not really. Uh, it's the same thing. They've added things to it. Yes, good things voted on by the community. So because of that, because those things are decent things, they're not like far-fetched out there things or whatever like this. And I only have 15. Oh my god, kill me. It's been 15 minutes. I've gotten 5 levels. It's gonna take a while. But yeah, I don't find that it's changed at all. I find it's pretty much the same, besides the eco kind of switching itself, because the eco really has to get used to it. And it's going to take a couple of years for the economy to really stabilize on many items, because some items are harder to get than others, because people just aren't doing something, and it seems like there's always waves of things. So at one time, there'll be like nobody cutting U-logs, and the U-logs will spike, and then people will be like, holy shit, we can make a lot of money cutting U-logs. A lot of people start cutting U-logs, they drop. Then they get bored of it because they're not making enough money, and they go to something else that is making a lot of money, and then U-logs spike again, and then they come back. And it's a constant circle with the eco, and that has to stabilize. But as far as I'm concerned, it feels the same. It hasn't changed since they released it overall. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about in regards to old school Scape and some changes / implementation / player based mentalities, etc.? Well, let's take those and just break them down into individual questions in general. So, is there anything else you'd like to talk about in regards to old school Scape and some changes? No, not really. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about in regards to old school Scape and implementations they've made? They made the right choices, and they made the right choice in how to implement them. The poll with the player base gives a very, very, very clear representation of what the players want and what they do not want. Because generally in polls, it's one thing that's way the fuck up there with like 80% or some shit like that, and the rest of it is down to nothing. Whether that's a yes or no question, or whether that's like a trio of things, like we saw with God Wars. Players very obviously wanted God Wars, and PvP Worlds were kind of that second place-ish type of thing that they didn't want as much, but they wanted more than the rest. So God Wars was the thing that they wanted, and that's the thing that they're going to get. That's what RuneScape and Jagex are going to put into the game here not eventually, sometime soon, I think. I think they said by the end of September, but I can't be certain with that. That guy's just been standing there for like 10 fucking minutes. What the hell? But whatever. As far as the implementations that they put in, I think it's great. I think what they did was good. I think how they implemented it was good, and how they did it to see what people wanted was a good idea. I think the polls way of doing it, instead of just randomly updating it, was a very good idea. They handled that brilliantly, actually. Perfectly. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about in regards to old school Scape and player-based mentalities? It's better. It is. It's the same as it was in August 2007. People are more helpful. Higher levels are more helpful. I wonder if that guy said dick, though. You watch, he'll come on and be like, you're a noob. Like, just to completely blow myself, like, my words out of the water. But I was slaying with that guy earlier today who told me I could do MM and stuff like that. And we had a good conversation for about I'd say 30 to 40 minutes. And he was level, like, 110 or some shit. He was armed to the fucking teeth at Basilisks, trying to get his Slayer level up quick. And he was the nicest fucking guy ever. And he's not the first one I've met that's been fairly high level and has not been a dick. I have met a few, but not enough to spoil that bunch. Pures in general are the same. And I'm sorry to Pures, again. Generally, they're not too bad, but you get the amount of dicks. I find range Pures, are the more asshole-ish because they think they're perfect, but overall, the player-based mentality for Pures is pretty good. And lower-level players are, as you would expect, they're stupid, but people do try to help them, and they're not too spammy. they're not like going in and being like free stuff blocks, free stuff blocks, free stuff blocks. You know, they'll ask for help in something or whatever. They won't spam the shit out of it. So player-based mentalities is better than RuneScape 3, definitely. Again, I'm sorry for picking on RuneScape 3 today. It's just a RuneScape 3 pick on you fest. I don't mean it. It's just true. I'm just saying what is true. From what I've experienced of RuneScape 3 and EOC before O7, just before O7 came out, or while O7 has been out, the high levels there are dicks, total dicks. And the player-based mentality for that just turns me completely off of RuneScape 3 more than the interface for RuneScape 3 does, which gives me a headache after about 10 minutes. But that's just me. That is just me, not necessarily you. But yeah, player-based mentalities is good. It is overall better than RuneScape 3, in my own opinion. You might have a completely different opinion. I don't really care. But in my opinion, it's better. And the last question he has is, are bots found often? Which is an interesting question. No. I don't find them often, but they're found where you'd expect to find them. They are not so much on yew trees anymore, and magic trees and stuff. I don't find them there often, if at all. Green dragon bots are still a problem. They still exist and are an issue, and are probably the reason that debones are 1.3k each or something like that instead of like 3 or 4k each, which is kind of a blessing in disguise. They are there for things like I found them for fishing. I have found them at willows. They cut willows. Runescence. They mine runescence. What else have I seen bots at? Other certain things and stuff. I've seen one at cockatrices for some weird reason. They're at a couple are at turrets, a couple are at pyrofiends. But it's not a populated world of bots from hell, and it doesn't affect the economy enough to really make it, like, to really bother with banning what's there. The green dragon bots, yeah, okay, I can see, destroying those or banning those, but the PKers do get some fun out of it, so, I mean, maybe keep them around, but bots aren't a big, humongous, massive fucking problem like they were in just before EOC, or just as EOC was coming out and stuff like that, when we had that big huge amount of bots just influx and stuff before they did the botany bay and the bot nuke stuff, that was really bad. Nothing like that at all. You don't see them very often unless you go to where they are. That's pretty much it. I don't see them often, and I just don't see them very often. But anyway, that is all of his question is that I could answer them with. That's the best answer. All, of course, completely in my own opinion. You could have a completely different opinion from mine, and that's fine. I don't really care. You don't have to tell me, but you can voice it if you want to. Leave a comment and tell me I'm wrong and I'm stupid, but that's up to you. Not up to me, that's up to you. But that's my personal opinion of the questions he asked. Again, the questions and stuff are in the description. If you have a Zybus Forums account and you want to comment, go ahead. You can comment on your own personal opinion, or you just want to see what some other answers are and stuff other than mine, and you want to get a better impression if you're trying to decide to play 07 or not, or whatever. Or what you want to think of it now if you quit 07 Scape the first week it came out or whatever, and you played RS3 and you want to kind of maybe see if it's any better now or whatever. You can go and read what people have said and stuff. There's some pretty good stuff. The guy, CL Trevor is his name, actually. He's the second commenter, and he gives not so much really me. Yeah, it's he does really give a good impression, CL Trevor. I'd recommend reading his, definitely, if you're going to read any of them. So yeah, do that. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it from me. I will see you guys next time. Peace.